So this is the new iPhone 14 and we have a lot to say about it. So here are my first impressions of the iPhone 14 right after the Apple event. Let's check it out. Let's start with the lineup this year. So to start with, we have the iPhone 14, the basic standard iPhone 14, and then we move on to the Pro phones. So this year, the iPhone 14 mini is gone, aka the 5.4-inch iPhone is officially gone. Pretty sad about that, especially because I'm a mini user myself. However, I guess a lot of people are much happier with the new, bigger sized 6.7-inch iPhone. So if you have trouble reading something on your display and you're just a fan of a bigger display phone, overall, this new iPhone 14 Plus is going to be a pretty good upgrade. Now, the iPhone 14 will start at $1,099 here in Canada or $799 in the US, and if you want the bigger iPhone 14 Plus, pretty confusing name, I know, but if you want that, it's going to cost an additional $100. So about $900 for the 14 Plus or $1,199 here in Canada. Now, in my opinion, every single iPhone that comes out always has had these three major upgrades. We have the battery life, the camera, and we have the display. So let's start with our first category, which is the battery life. Now, when it comes to the battery life, the iPhone 14 and 14 Max have up to 26 hours of claimed battery life, which is probably going to be about 24 hours or maybe 22 in real life. And you get 21 hours for the standard iPhone. You do actually get over 24 hours of battery life on the Plus phones this year. That is going to be a pretty reasonably good battery, and it's going to last you through your day, which is pretty good. At least now the iPhone is officially going to last you an entire 24 hours, so that's pretty good. Now, one of the other things that I have to mention that I think a lot of people will probably mention in their own videos as well is that only the Pro iPhones are getting the A16 Bionic chip this year. So the regular iPhones, the 14 and 14 Plus, will stick to the A15 chip. Though I do also have to mention that the GPU is bumped up by a core, so you get 5-core GPU instead of 4-core. So Apple is technically giving you an upgrade on the standard iPhones. So they are getting the A15 from the Pro phones. However, it is still A15 after all. But it's not really like a big difference between these two chips. The A16 just brings better performance, and it is currently only coming to the Pros. Now, another feature that Apple really talked about in this event was their new satellite connectivity feature, which is pretty interesting.
That connection is only possible when the phone is pointing directly at a satellite. However, satellites fly too high to be seen by the human eye. So we created a unique user experience that shows you where to point your phone to establish a connection and stay connected.
So for example, if you are lost in a desert and you don't have any signal from your courier or something like that, you can use Apple's emergency service feature. So this is going to make you go near a satellite, searching for a signal like this. Whenever it does find a signal, that means you are right under a satellite network. It's going to automatically connect to the satellite network and therefore gives you a nice and secure connection with that satellite network, so you can message and text emergency services using this new Apple feature. This is available on all the phones, and the reason why the event was named Far Out in the first place, it was going to be named Far Out because of this emergency service feature. That's pretty cool. Now, another fun feature that the iPhone 14, the standard iPhone 14s also got was the action mode. So this basically eliminates the use of a gimbal, so you can simply stabilize your footage without using a fancy $200, $300 gimbal. This action mode, if it does actually work like how they showed it on stage, is going to change a lot of people's lives, especially the ones who are shooting videos like this one for YouTube and trying to make the most cinematic shot, just don't want to spend the most money trying to get a gimbal. And this action mode, if it does actually work like they showed it, is going to be a pretty big feature of the iPhone 14. Now, another iPhone 14 camera upgrade this year is the fact that we are finally getting 48 megapixels on the Pro phones. Though technically we're not getting 8K video, I think it is going to come in a later software update to show like, oh my god, iOS 17 gives you 8K, how crazy is that? But technically they are giving us the hardware by upgrading the camera to 48 megapixels, which not only makes the footage a lot sharper both for photos and videos, but just overall improves the quality. However, that is only coming to the Pro iPhone, so keep that in mind. The biggest headline for this year's iPhone arguably is the brand new notch that they're giving the Pro phones this year. So the notch is gone, as you guys know it. However, the regular iPhones will still keep the notch from the iPhone 13. And honestly, since the notch on the iPhone 13 was 20% smaller, I don't think it's going to actually bug anyone having that, smaller notch on the regular iPhones. Though it definitely would be cool to have this new pill design on your iPhone. Now, this new pill design, while kind of looks weird and odd simply because we haven't really seen it on another iPhone before, and kind of looks like an Android phone, I'm not a big fan of it. I will probably grow on it in a little bit. Not only is not going to just look bad, but also it's going to be quite functional. There is a brand new movable island feature that is going to give access to a lot of different cool features. So for example, you can airdrop pictures via this top bar of your iPhone, or you can have a telephone call while still, browsing the web or doing some other type of multitasking on your iPhone. It's pretty cool. I really want to try it out and see how much they can take this new feature that they've added and bring it maybe to the rest of the iPhones, or maybe add so many other great features that we have really not ever thought about. Now, the iPhone 14 Pros, you have to tell you, start at $1,399 here in Canada or $999 in the US, which is expensive. Though I do also have to tell you that you're technically starting with 256 gigabytes of storage this year. That $1,400 price tag is much more reasonable than how much it was last year on the 13 Pro. Now, one of the biggest things with the new iPhones is their new colors, and in my opinion, the regular iPhones really didn't get what they deserved to get. Now, you obviously get your normal average colors like Midnight, Starlight, or Product Red. But new for this year, you get this very, very light finish of purple, and in my opinion, the best color of this year for the regular iPhones, this new Pacific Blue, but on the regular iPhones. So this new shade of blue is definitely very similar to last year's Pacific Blue on the 13 Pros, but now that Pacific Blue has moved to the regular iPhones, and honestly it doesn't look too bad. I just wish it was a little bit more vibrant, especially for the purple color. I wish the more vibrant colors went to the regular iPhones like they usually do. But instead, we got the more vibrant colors in the Pros, which is pretty interesting. So this year, you obviously get your average silver, gold, and you do actually get space black. Now, space gray is different. This is space black. Now, I wish it just gave us matte black like we all wanted. However, this new space black color is actually pretty cool. It is matte black, but it definitely still has a little bit of a shade of gray. I don't know why they just can't make a black iPhone. How hard is that? But I mean, I kind of like it, and I definitely do like the way it looks. It looks pretty cool, and I think a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers will definitely enjoy this new color whenever it's released. Now, another color that we have this year, which is very interesting, is the new deep purple color, which is mind-blowing in my opinion. This color is the most beautiful purple color I've ever seen in my life. Now, some of the pictures on Apple's website I think don't justify for how beautiful this really is, but in some of the pictures that I've seen from the outside, people holding this new purple color, oh my, it looks so beautiful. And yeah, I really want one now. That purple color is really addictive. Another great feature only coming to the pros again this year is going to be the always on display. So this is going to, now we are still not 100% sure how it's going to exactly work, but thanks to the new always on display, we are going to be able to dim our wallpaper and bring the screen refresh rate to one single frame rate. So that is pretty cool. Just to save, your battery life, and obviously this is going to make the iPhone a little less efficient, but we finally have always on display for those who are complaining from the Android side, saying, hey, what about the iPhone doesn't have an always on display? Now they've finally done it. They've actually brought us an always on display. Now, another great feature that is going to come to both the pros and the regular phones is iOS 16 and also your phone as long as it is an iPhone 8 and up. And the main feature with iOS 16 is going to be your custom wallpaper and background. And from what I believe, it's going to come by the end of September. The official release is at that point when these iPhones start shipping. Another great display feature this year is the increased brightness on both the regular and the Pro phone. So now for the regulars, we get up to 1200 nits of display, which simply means brighter display. So you can watch media a lot easier when you're outside, and it's just going to be a better overall experience. And on the Pro phones, we get 2000 nits display on the Pro phones, which is pretty big. Yeah, it's going to be basically possible to see anything, even dark movies when you're outside, because of this new super bright display. Another great iPhone feature this year coming to not only the iPhone but also to the Apple Watch that we'll talk about in the next video is crash detection. Now, the new iPhone is going to actually detect when you are in an accident. You can always click off, of course, but it's going to detect that, and if you don't answer the iPhone after 10 seconds, it's automatically going to send your location to emergency services like 911, and they're going to come and help you. Speaking of 911 and emergency services and the United States in overall, one of the biggest breakthroughs in the iPhone 14, which I think a lot of people didn't actually notice in the keynote simply because it was talked very simply about, is that the SIM card tray is officially gone for this year's phone. Now, if you live in Canada or anywhere else in the world other than the US, you will still get the SIM card tray because a lot of the carriers here in Canada and the rest of the world, other than the US, have not yet agreed on using this new eSIM technology, and if they actually did, but for all the international models, it was going to make their life a lot more difficult simply because they have to deal with so many different carriers. So this SIM card-less iPhone only is available in the US. So if you want to get the iPhone 14, you don't have to break open the SIM card tray. You don't have to do any of that. You simply get your iPhone and then super easily connect it to your carrier's eSIM card. I really want to talk about eSIM cards in another video simply because there is a lot to talk about them. Another breakthrough feature coming for filmmakers and professionals is the fact that cinematic mode has finally kind of improved, and now you get 4K at 24 frames per second, so you can shoot your videos at a more cinematic frame rate, which is more popular with filmmakers just like me. So this video you're actually watching right now is in 4K and at 24 frames per second, which is the popular one. Until now, cinematic mode kind of sucked. Hopefully it's going to be a little nicer thanks to this. If you want to order the new iPhone 14s, they will be available for pre-order in just a few days, and they will officially hit shelves in the 16th of September this year, so just a few days away, and the iPhone 14 Plus hitting shelves at October 10th this year. By the time that these iPhones actually do drop to the Apple Store, I will be making a video about them, possibly in about a week after they officially hit the Apple Store. But that's when my review will officially come out on each and every one of the products that got released in today's Apple keynote. Now let's just go over the simple products that we got here. We got the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus, a powerhouse of an iPhone. Great iPhones, the ones that most people will get. We got iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. Great powerhouse iPhones. Again, crazy powerful, crazy cinematic, crazy great. We got AirPods Pro with some speaker holes and you can change the volume now from the actual AirPod itself, which is pretty cool. Then we got some new Apple Watches. The Apple Watch SE has new finishes and a few women's health features, and the Series 8 also gets the same things, other than the fact that it has that larger display and a few new sensors for sleeping tracking and women's health. And then we also got the new Apple Watch Ultra, which I will talk about next week on my 2022 Apple Watch review. We'll talk about the Apple Watch Ultra. You can watch that video over here when it's out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, and I will see you on the next one next week on the Apple Watch Series Ultra. So thank you so much for watching. Stay bright, and I'll see you next week.